If you think that preparing for emergencies is just about stockpiling equipment and supplies, think again. Not all survival items are the same. Some can truly help, but others may attract unwanted attention. Starting from generators and ending with advanced medical kits, certain items trigger automatic alerts and make you noticeable to systems controlling what you can or cannot acquire. The key is not to be paranoid, but to understand how to act wisely, being prepared without attracting unnecessary problems. Today we will examine, item by item, the most common mistakes made by prepared people, and which items many ignore until it's too late. This material is intended solely for informational purposes. He is not meant to incite panic or promote illegal actions. His goal is to share knowledge and promote responsible training. The first item is medical supplies. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone starts stockpiling medical supplies in large quantities? It's not about a few band-aids or some ointment, but about antibiotics, surgical kits, and trauma equipment in significant quantities, bulk orders, repeat purchases, phishing simulations. All of this begins to attract the interest of algorithms tracking consumer patterns. What may seem like preparation to you might look suspicious to others. Having a personal first aid kit is entirely reasonable. But when it comes to dozens of surgical sets, boxes of gauze, or specialized equipment, the perception changes. Authorities and control systems see this as signs of preparation for mass emergencies or even violent conflicts. This thin line between readiness and being perceived as a threat is much more real than it seems, and often depends solely on the interpretation of your purchases. The reality is that complete medical self-sufficiency challenges the control over who receives treatment and how resources are distributed. Preparing for a 72-hour emergency is a wise step, but when it goes further, the world begins to look at you differently. This is a reminder that in matters of survival and preparation, caution and prudence are as important as the supplies themselves. The second point is a water purification system. After the catastrophe, the most essential thing may not be food or safe shelter, but water. Access to clean water can be the decisive factor between survival and serious risks. Therefore, having a system capable of purifying hundreds or even thousands of gallons becomes vital in any emergency. When resources are depleted, water becomes a critically important commodity. In many cases, it is controlled, confiscated, or even seized to ensure it reaches those who need it most. This emphasizes how important it is to be prepared and understand how to handle this basic yet essential resource. Therefore, studying methods of water purification and storage is not just a survival idea, but an investment in peace and security. With a little preparation, we can ensure that whatever happens, we will have what is necessary to continue living. Clean and safe water. Article 8, Fuel Storage. When it comes to fuel storage, it's not just a few 20-liter cans. Imagine having enough gasoline or diesel for a week's use to keep the generator running, move necessary vehicles, or even support agricultural work without relying on the official network. This is a level of energy independence that allows you to continue living even if supplies become limited or distribution begins. However, it is not as simple as just filling a large tank. The authorities closely monitor mass storage, keep track of suppliers, transport of hazardous materials, and even local monitoring can make your caution a target. What may seem like safety and self-sufficiency can attract the attention of those who control critical resources in an emergency. The key is to plan wisely. Small amounts, well distributed and managed, can make a difference without causing unnecessary anxiety. The idea is not to accumulate reserves for the sake of reserves, but to create a personal safety zone that allows you to handle unexpected situations without relying on the system, while adhering to the law and avoiding unnecessary risks. Article 7. Seeds. Have you ever wondered if a bag of 25 kilograms of grain could raise suspicions? Piles of bags, bulk seed orders, and those seemingly harmless hand tractors are hints that people are building a parallel food infrastructure. When you give specific examples, like the neighbor who bought 20 bags to supply her garden, the story stops being a theory and becomes tangible, capturing attention from the first moment. In times of crisis, everything changes. Nationalizations occur, confiscations happen, and distribution takes place. Large purchases or unusual behavior do not go unnoticed. They attract attention and create tension that can affect everyone. There is no place for weapons or violence here. But the question is how food and seeds can become lovers of power or reasons for disputes. Therefore, it is extremely important to strengthen local networks, such as community gardens or legal seed banks, and to know the rules. Information and organization within the law can play a decisive role. Have you seen anything like this in your area? Sharing experiences and solutions is the best way to prepare, avoiding paranoia. Article 6. Thermal imaging optics. Have you ever wondered why having night vision or thermal optics seems so special? For most, it is just an impressive technology, perfect for hunting or research. But for those who control security and power, it means something much greater. A tool that disrupts their dominance over darkness. When you are able to see what is hidden from others, you change the rules of the game. Few know that such equipment is not bought like any other product. Every deal is recorded, monitored, and subject to international standards. This is not paranoia, it is a policy of control. Thermal and night vision systems are intended for military use, and if a civilian acquires them, it raises questions. In their logic, those who invest in technologies intended for special operations may have extraordinary intentions. Yes, having night vision is impressive, but it also puts you under a certain light. Not because it is illegal, but because it symbolizes independence, readiness, and autonomy, things that some prefer to restrict. Seeing in the dark is a modern superpower, but with every infrared burst, you leave a trace that says, "I don't depend on you to be ready." And this simple phrase may not please many. Article 5. Radio communication. Imagine that every call, every message leaves a visible trace, and privacy disappears, turning conversation into an act of rebellion. That is why communication with each other, face-to-face or through channels that respect our space, is a powerful gesture. There are tools that help create this small dead corner on the map, not to hide, but to regain control over who listens and when. If you worry that someone is controlling the narrative, the thought of secure communication stops being paranoia and becomes common sense. In an emergency situation, whether it's an earthquake, mass blackouts, or riots, the difference between chaos and calm often lies in quick and reliable communication. Neighbors coordinating, families confirming they are fine, organized searches, all achieved through simple and responsible networks. I am not talking about dark tricks, but about preparation, studying what is permissible by law, and practicing with legal equipment, uniting people from the area so that information can spread without dependence on large companies or those who want to control it. Don't wait for someone to help. Create your own mini-civil network. Start with the people you trust. Practice short exercises. Coordinate clear signals and be responsible for the lawful and ethical use of tools. Privacy and sustainability are not luxuries, but what we build together. Are you ready to turn conversation into action? I invite you to write in the comments what you think about this situation. Article 4. Large and noticeable equipment. There are things that, just by being large, tell a story even before you open your mouth. A trailer full of canisters, a generator that looks like it was brought from a construction site, or a water tank parked in the yard. All of this does not go unnoticed. People like to explain what they see with simple stories, and algorithms work on the same principle. Therefore, large objects often raise questions, surprised looks, or discussions before any viewer has time to consider whether they are ready or just tidying up their garden. For the observer, this creates an intriguing, visually rich drama filled with tension and a lesson on how the visible can become a subject of disputes without any particular purpose. I am not urging you to abandon your preparations, not at all. It's about thinking like a person striving for peace, without becoming a news object. Major purchases make sense for those planning to protect their family, but they also invite explanation, documentation, and actions with transparency, permissions, safe storage, sharing plans with neighbors, or even coordination with local authorities when necessary. If you like this moment, give a like and share. The ability to prepare without panic is as important as having the right equipment. Article 3. Renewable energy systems. Imagine that you have your own energy source, solar panels on the roof, a small wind turbine in the yard, and a battery ready to keep your home running independently from the power grid. This sounds like a dream for anyone striving for self-sufficiency, doesn't it? Interestingly, such systems not only provide independence, but also teach planning, resource management, and wise use of technology. Moreover, these are long-term investments that reduce costs and promote sustainable development. However, like any valuable and noticeable equipment, they can attract attention. Curious neighbors, energy companies, or even unexpected guests will want to know how your system works and how dependent you are on it. It is important to show confidence and expertise, to educate those around about the significance of renewable energy, and to comply with existing regulations so you can enjoy autonomy, learn to manage your resources, and avoid unnecessary misunderstandings, becoming a practical example of responsible and modern training. Article 2. Metals. Did you know that precious metals like gold and silver have always been considered true material wealth? History confirms this. In 1933, under Executive Order Number 602, Americans were required to surrender their gold to the government, and those who did not faced fines and imprisonment. Today, although we are not forced to surrender gold, large financial transactions are under close legal scrutiny, and banks monitor every movement of money to prevent fraud and money laundering. To this day, creating your own financial fortress using precious metals remains sensible. But it is no longer as simple as just storing coins in a safe. In times of crisis, control over capital and the digitization of money can make owning gold or silver a risky and complicated endeavor. What you buy legally today may become a desired and limited object in less visible markets tomorrow. Therefore, before making purchases, it is important to understand the risks and rules. The more metals you have, the more attention you will attract. But you can also earn more financial security if you act wisely. Ultimately, the shine of gold and silver is not just a matter of wealth, but also of strategy and understanding the game behind money. Before revealing the first point, share this information in your messenger groups to spread the word. First, tactical and camouflage clothing. It may seem like just a fashion or practical style, but tactical clothing tells its stories even if you don't say a word. Vests with many pockets, combat boots, military backpacks, all scream, "I am ready." And although many wear such clothing for convenience or durability, it can provoke curiosity where you least expect it. Under normal circumstances, you look like someone passionate about adventure or sports, but in tense or crisis situations, the same outfit can make you stand out when it's best to remain unnoticed. The key here is not to refuse such clothing, but to understand when and where to wear it. Sometimes the best tactic is to seem ordinary. Tactical clothing does have its advantages. It is durable, functional, and ready for anything. But using it wisely is what truly matters. Instead of dressing as if the end of the world is tomorrow, pair it with ordinary items and create a balance between style and readiness. Being restrained does not mean being unprepared. It means having an advantage without displaying it. Before you go out, dressed like an action hero, remember, the most effective camouflage is not always in colors, but in attitude. Note that this video is intended solely for informational and educational purposes, not promoting fear or misuse of materials. The information presented here is aimed at encouraging responsible preparation and compliance with the laws. Our goal is to create awareness and provoke thought, rather than incite panic or provoke illegal actions.